Close your eyes and imagine a mountain, a snowy mountain, but there's only patches of snow. It's just dry, eroding soil with a few trees bordering what used to be a ski run. The atmosphere is sad, melancholic, a shell of what used to be a vibrant holiday destination. Open your eyes. The place you just pictured is the future reality of our snowy mountains, the Australian Alps. Today's podcast focuses on Kosciuszko National Park, specifically the area managed by Thredbo Resort. The mountains of Snowy Monaro Regional Council have been facing increasing recreational pressures from annual winter tourism and the recent expansion into the summer tourism market, a change heavily influenced by climate change impacts. The park hosts a unique ecosystem, singular in the Australian landscape. Only 0.1% of the Australian mainland is alpine and subalpine areas, meaning our ski fields are extremely small compared to international mountains, making it imperative that we preserve this natural environment. The shift to a focus on year-round tourism in the Snowy Mountains began in the mid-2010s as Thredbo expanded its mountain biking industry with 25 kilometers of new bike trails and cross-country action. The strategy for year-round tourism in the alpine areas comes from the changes to snow cover seen in the past 2 decades, including a declining duration of snow season and reduced snow depth. In spring, snow was melting 2 weeks earlier than in 1950s, and the record shows a 40% decline in snow cover. The expansion of summer tourism in the Australian Alps has concerning implications for the environment, especially when we consider the concept of planetary boundaries. The idea of planetary boundaries is that our Earth has natural limits in its normal functioning, and human environmental changes are pushing and exceeding the limits in the various sectors, irreversibly altering Earth systems. The main sectors which this shift towards summer tourism affects includes biosphere integrity, the biogeochemical flows of nitrogen in the soil, and climate change with the CO2 concentration created from extending operating seasons. The planetary boundary of biosphere integrity exceeds natural limits due to the loss of genetic diversity in species. Locally, the constant use of the mountain terrain year-round places pressure on 34 vulnerable species of flora and fauna, with several endangered species facing the threat of imminent extinction. The mountain pygmy possum is affected by habitat loss and climate change, with fewer than 3,000 individuals left in the wild. The other aspect of this planetary boundary is the functional integrity of the environment, largely affected by the clearing of vegetation for ski runs. Although Thredbo Resort uses existing ski runs as mountain biking trails, native flora is unable to recover from the intense winter seasons, as it's consistently cleared to maintain the trails during these off-seasons. Functional integrity is also linked to the planetary boundary of biogeochemical flows. Research by Grover et al. Provides insight into introduced and invasive species, causing permanent changes to alpine ecosystems. This study on nitrogen dynamics in alpine soils found twice as much inorganic nitrogen as organic. The unnatural levels of nitrogen in soils disrupts the balance of natural ecosystems. This only worsens by the compaction of soil from mountain biking in the summer seasons. Nationally, the expanding trend of year-round tourism presents challenges by exceeding developed infrastructure limits of sustainable water use and energy resources. Winter seasons already pressure the nearby Jindabyne Dam and water stores in the Murray-Darling Basin. Extended tourism usage increases the demands placed on these water systems and further affects our country's ability to recover from major weather events like droughts. Across the globe, pushing the limits of our planetary boundaries and the overuse of natural environments for tourism destroys landscapes, threatens national species, and ultimately endangers humans as finite resources diminish. The travel emissions generated from increasing numbers of tourists traveling year-round create further CO2 emissions, coupled with those from industry operations, contributing to the currently exceeded planetary boundary of climate change. Summer tourism in alpine areas must be developed with sustainable models and extensive consideration to unique natural environments especially in the Australian alpine ecosystem.